Well, Democrats in Washington are making a push for sweeping police reform in response to the killing of George Floyd. In the 2 weeks since Floyd's death, while in police custody, millions of people around the world have condemned racism in law enforcement. Some Republicans have faced criticism for their response to the crisis, including President Trump, who threatened to use the military to stop the protests. Well, the Democrats held a moment of silence today while unveiling their reform plans. They've dubbed it the Justice in Policing Act. Well, speaking earlier, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi called for speedy adoption of the legislation.
Brutality is heartbreaking reflection of an entrenched system of racial injustice in America. True justice can only be achieved with full, comprehensive action. That's what we are doing today. This is a first step. There is more to come. The president must not stand in the way of justice. The Congress and the country will not relent until this legislation is made into law.
Well, let's head to the American Capitol for more on this bill. And our reporter, Colin Campbell, is standing by. Good evening to you. So this is one of the most ambitious proposals, isn't it, in terms of law enforcement sought by Congress. Can you fill us in on some of the details?
Well, now we're moving into an area of policy where we saw it more emphasized on protest. And so part of the process in trying to get this accomplished is looking at some of the issues that are affecting policing today and what people find so offensive when it comes to policing. So one of the main areas that the House Democrats are looking at and reforming right now are the use of chokeholds in policing. Of course, police have a certain allowance of use of force when trying to control certain situations and individuals within those situations. But many people are of the thinking now that the use of chokeholds should be disallowed nationwide. We saw this happen in the killing of George Floyd. We remember Eric Garner's case, the man from New York who was apprehended using a chokehold, who also later died. That's where that phrase, "I can't breathe," comes from. They're also looking at the use of no-knock warrants and the death of Breonna Taylor in Louisville, Kentucky, when members of law enforcement just started shooting through the doors and just busting through the residence of Breonna Taylor. A no-knock warrant allows police to enter a residence using force without a warning, without a warrant, just going right in, just as if they themselves were working or living in that space. And they want, House Democrats want that type of activity to end. And also would be a nationwide database of police misconduct. This is also something that is not done here in the U.S., and House Democrats would like to see that enacted, where anyone from any precinct anywhere could look at the past records of police, especially those who are multiple offenders, like in the case of former officer Derek Chauvin, who had his knee on the neck of George Floyd. He had been actually in several different instances. He was really inspected for some of the malfeasance that he committed while he was a police officer.
OK, well, Colin, talk us through what happens next, though, in terms of this legislation.
Well, right now, what House Democrats are doing is crafting the bill. They want to look at those key areas that I just talked about. They want to add some other areas. Then they will go to hearings, looking at and inspecting and interrogating whether or not the policies that they have put forth are the correct ones, if they need to be amended, and if others need to be added. After that, there will be a markup, and then it will be sent to the Senate. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is hoping that Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell takes up the bill swiftly, but based on his record, there is some skepticism that that would actually happen.
OK, so some skepticism there. But thanks so much, Colin Campbell, joining us there from Washington.